Hey everyone, MTashed here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the loot chase in Destiny. I wanted to talk about one thing that I've noticed that is a little bit scary, but also another thing that is definitely a positive thing that Bungie's been doing, and I'm excited to see more of. But there's a little problem here. There's a little problem that I'm starting to run into, and I wouldn't say that this is a rant, because, you know, I come from a place where I play a lot of this game, right? I play a lot of Destiny, but I'm starting to run out of guns. Now, that's a weird thought. There's so many guns in this game. There's hundreds of guns in this game and hundreds of perk combinations, but there isn't, really. There isn't, technically. If you look for the best of the best, if you're looking for the optimal loadouts, you start running out of things very quickly, and I want to showcase that today. Now, when the spare rations came out, this was one of the first randomly rolled 150 RPM hand cannons. It had the potential to be an absolute monster in PvP, but also a monster in PvE with kill clip and multi-kill clip and rapid hit. Spare rations was a similar gun to things we've had before, but it was just a little bit better. If you look at something like the Beloved, or even the Apostate, the same thing goes. We've had 140 RPM snipers, but this one can roll with some pretty nutty stats. And the Beloved, as a 90 RPM, this was pretty much the best scope, best perks, best sniper available from the Menagerie. And so when you add a gun like the Beloved, or you add a gun like the spare rations into the game, it's hard to compete with them because the base stats on them are good, the perks you can get on them are really good, and so unless you come out with a completely new perk, or you just make a gun with better base stats and start getting some power creep, you can't really replace the spare rations. Yes, I could use a Midnight Coup, and it's just worse. Yes, I could use a Waking Vigil maybe, but it probably won't perform as good as the God-rolled perfect spare rations. Now, there's multiple snipers in the game, and I understand that, you know, there's the Revoker and other snipers that I could put in this slot, right? If I wanted a fast-firing one, I've got a Supremacy. I understand that there's multiple kinetic and energy options, but there's a lot of guns that they're just the best, and it's really hard to compete. The Mindbenders being one of them. The Mindbenders is probably the best shotgun in the game, other than maybe our boy Lord of Wolves. And so when you have the option of farming for a gun, you should just farm for the Mindbenders. It's like the spare rations. If you're looking for a hand cannon to play with, farm for the spare rations. This is the one you go for. If you're looking for a shotgun to kill people from the furthest distance and have the best stats, you get a Mindbenders. Now, I know that I'm a meta piece of trash, and I like to use the meta stuff. And maybe you want to farm for something else. Maybe you want the best perfect paradox in the game. The perfect paradox in the game. I understand that. But unless they start introducing new perks, or changing perks in the game, we're starting to run out of options for guns that are really valuable. Now, an interesting thing they did this season, which I praise Bungie for because it actually changes things up, is they started bringing back a couple old guns and they changed the perks that were available. And so all of a sudden, something like the Last Hope, a gun you wouldn't expect to be a godly PvE weapon, is. With Feeding Frenzy, the best reloading perk in the game, multi-kill clip. Boys, this thing is nuts, and it's kind of cool hunting and searching for Last Hope. I spent thousands of resources. I spent like 10,000 shards trying to get this thing, right? And so that is an exciting thing, is what if you just take these weapons we have and add a new perk pool, add some new perks? It does spice things up quite a bit. And there's one more gun that I wanted to mention about that. And that's actually this bad boy here. Oh, no, not that one. This one. The Martyr's Retribution. Now they added a gun or a perk into the game called Lead from Gold. Picking up heavy ammo also grants ammo to this weapon. And with a mixture of this and Demolitionist, you can actually make a complete build around grenade launchers. And that is exciting. Completely shifting how you play because of the perks available. They need more stuff like this. Perks that are actually cool and interesting to chase. Because right now, if you're playing PvE, you probably want some sort of damaging perk. If you're playing PvP, you want stuff like snapshots and quick draws and rangefinder, whatever you can to make your neutral game as good as possible. And I find that we are in this scenario right now where I'm sure many of you have very good guns, and it's pretty tough to replace them. But we filled like every single niche, and I find that it happened in the past few seasons, especially with Pinnacle weapons. But we've hit this point of, well, what else? What else is there? So I gotta shift a couple guns over in my inventory really quickly so I can talk about this point. Now, I understand that, they nerfed the Recluse, but the Mountaintop is still a great little tool. And I've found that with the Pinnacle weapons that came out, we were chasing these weapons and they were very, very powerful and still are very powerful. But the Mountaintop, this has really solidified itself as probably the best kinetic grenade launcher. It's pretty hard to compete with this grenade launcher. Unless you jack up the reload speed or you get this god tier grenade launcher that somehow comes out, replacing this is tough. And even with the Recluse, this is an overall extremely good PvE weapon. There's some other similar ones as well, but the Recluse is super good. If you look at something like the 21% Delirium, the 21 Delirium, this is a great little machine gun, probably the best machine gun in the game for PvE activities. We've also got something like the Hammerhead, and I find with a lot of these Pinnacle weapons, they've filled some slots that maybe weren't filled before, and they're very, very strong options. When we looked at the Not Forgotten when it first came out, the Not Forgotten was nuts, right? The Not Forgotten was this god tier beast, this absolute monster. It was a 180 RPM. Now it's a 150. They changed it. But again, this was one of those guns that it was like the only gun you should have and use if you want an energy hand cannon, especially if you want a 180. I am worried that if they don't start coming out with some cool ass perks like this, which is, similar to ritual weapons, we're running out of stuff to chase for guns. And I've found, especially this season, other than the grenade launcher and the linear fusion, I don't even know if I have it on my character right now. Other than the linear fusion rifle, there wasn't much that I wanted to chase. Last season, one of the ones I wanted to chase was this Love and Death grenade launcher. There are some guns that are coming out that I do definitely want, but again, each time that I'm getting them, I'm getting closer and closer to realizing, well, it's really hard to beat Love and Death. It's really hard to beat this gun. I could get field prep here. I understand I could get a little bit better version, but I'm pretty much set in the grenade launcher slot. I've got a really good sniper, probably the best sniper in the game. And when they come out stuff with like this, Steel Feather Repeater, I understand maybe people love auto rifles. Maybe the 720 is amazing. Maybe you love Vorpal Weapon. But this thing isn't going to be that much better than any of the amazing tools that I have right now. And unless these perks change or they, power creep the shit out of the stats and make it like instant reloading and things like that, we're starting to hit a cap. We're starting to hit a bit of a cap. And I'm finding, unfortunately, that most of the guns that came out in this expansion, this new DLC, there was 2 of them that were actually worth chasing. Maybe 3 of them worth chasing. and I worry that next update it'll be even lower, and the next update even lower. So we either need new perks, or there needs to be a sense of power creep to replace a lot of this stuff. We need something like the Trials gear back in the day. It had one extra perk, and that one extra perk was enough to make it the best option and replace many other options. If you look at the Doctrine of Passing auto rifle, it had one extra perk, and that made it good. The other stuff was good, but that was an extra thing making it the best. And I don't know what Bungie's going to do about it. But I wanted to talk about one other thing. Okay, this is a Destiny video. Just watch this. Okay, I know that this isn't Destiny footage. This is a Destiny video. This isn't Destiny footage. Don't click away. I want to talk about something very quickly. Now, this number here, I've played in the last 3 weeks or so, 6 days, 5 hours, 57 minutes, and 2 seconds of Path of Exile. This is a game called Path of Exile. And I want to discuss something really quickly about Path of Exile and about this gear here, and why I'm able to just grind this game like crazy. I can grind like nuts because I find that a lot of the gear has a big impact on the gameplay, and there's always improvements that I can make. And I know that Destiny can't go this route, but I want to just showcase this amulet and this amulet right here. Now, this one was my amulet that I'd had for quite a while. It's got spell damage, lightning damage, elemental resistance, and it's got life. Now, those are really good perks. That's kind of the 5 perks pretty much that are really good on this, 4 perks that are really good on this. And in order to improve on this, I needed to hit all of those. I needed to get all of those, as well as cast speed. I needed cast speed to get better. And so I got pretty much the same amulet, but it's got spell damage, lightning damage, life, elemental resistances, and cast speed. So this was a direct upgrade. This is actually a pretty big boost to my damage. And I hunted for this thing for hours and hours and hours and hours. Days. I mean, come on, guys. I've played 6 days worth in 3 weeks. I'm addicted. I'm so addicted. And the same thing has happened with my gloves, trying to get better resistances, and my belt, trying to get more life. And I find with Destiny, I've hit a point where I've just got like the perfect stuff, and there's no real way to chase for more. And I'm finding that the more I'm playing this game, I'm realizing, man, I feel like I've got everything. Now, there's some fun stuff you can do in Destiny still. Sorta. It's a little dry. But this feeling, this chase of I just need that one more perk, that's something that I'm really starting to miss in Destiny. Now, I know this one was a little bit long-winded, but I really wish and I really hope that this feeling, this getting that perfect item, can come back somehow. I just don't know how. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.